The suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
One of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
I got weed pots.
And like for me, I like being behind the line. You know, like I like being in the kitchen, but I like also leaving before they have to deep clean the kitchen.
Yeah, be like, oh, y'all doing inventory of the deep freeze today and cleaning behind the deep fryer?
Monday's deep clean day. I'll see you on Tuesday. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to rock. Yeah.
I have that luxury. And I try to do the same. It's like, you know, I usually get off work of my day job. Y'all want to meet for a happy hour? And they're like, that's the rush. And I was like,
yeah.
Well, what time can y'all start drinking?
10 a.m.
Hey,
as you're showing up.
Yeah. I'm coming in. I'm just doing my job, having a drink or two, and then I'll get out of y'all's hair before y'all get to work.
Yeah, I mean, your job is even better than mine in that you sit down and enjoy the food. Right? Like when you and I are at an event at Bruto, you get to try the food, and I just get to photograph the food. Like and you are a rung up from me, and that you sit down and they enjoy.
Yes, but to be fair, if I had your skill set, I would have been elevated from that table. But instead, I sit there. They're like, feed that poor old media boy. It's like Tiny Tim sitting there with a bowl.
Feed that comp ticket. Yeah. Feed him well.
You're like, that motherfucker better tip. That's what I'm judged strictly based off of that and how well I edit. So
yeah,
I think you'll say the same at the end of this.
I am also judged on how well I edit. Ultimately,
that is true.
I'm judged on what you see and not what you do not.
Yeah, the Venn diagram between you and I are actually a lot more
similar.
Yeah,
it's pretty close. Yeah.
But for those that are listening in, that voice you hear is it's Jeff Fierberg.
Yep,
Fierberg.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever,
I'm
dude.
a redneck. I butcher everything.
I don't care about German pronunciation.
Oh, there we go. Well, he's the founder of Sora Digital, and he's a world-renowned food photographer. So as you hear about us joking, the best ways to not be on the line but also get to reap the spoils, we're going to talk to Jeff just about everything today, from where the camera has been taking him to his favorite things to capture with the camera. And we're actually going to talk a little nitty-gritty about Jeff himself. So we'll have him take off the camera vest, and we'll talk then fun stuff that gets to maybe not be shown so much when everyone's looking at your pictures. They don't get to hear the fun stories behind it all the time. So we're going to tell some gnarly stuff. We got some cool questions for you. I even did a whole rundown, so I'm actually prepared. Yeah, I Googled your name. You're going to have to tell us what Narbox is later.
Okay.
Before we get
Narbox is going to be pumped about that.
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, let's give a shout out to my sponsor. That's the Callie's Cannabis brand. These guys just opened 2 new locations, one on West Custer Place right off of 8th Avenue, and then, of course, the one that I'm calling the headquarters. It's the one that I like to frequent. They have a great selection on the corner of 31st and Larimer down there in the 5 Points Rhino neighborhood. It's just it's A+ flower for what you can find in the commercial scene in Denver. And if you're not growing or buying black market, then these guys have got you covered. Obviously, they'll have every bit of oil, edible, and anything in between there. They've got all of that, the regular hit players, but their flower is what sets them apart and why we chose to partner with them. So go check out Callie's. They have industry discounts. They have discounts every single day of the week. As we are recording this, it's Friday, and Fridays are 15% off flowers, so that's a fucking righteous deal. Go check them out. Okay, that was it. That's the end. Yeah, that's how I do my
That was the tweet. That was it.
Yeah, they don't give me like a piece of paper like make sure we cover all of our bases. They're just like be authentic, and I'm like it's dank weed. So
yeah, I feel like in this very specific instance, and you do not need an ad read given to you.
No, I'm very good. I mean,
you're very good at talking about weed. You're really good at it.
I'm not bad at it because I'm not very knowledgeable. But what I am is I have the gift of gab. So I just like to have a conversation. I like to learn a little bit more. And I think our listeners do as well. So we're fired up to have you join us today because we haven't had a photographer on. So we would love to know a little bit more about, everyone sees you at the event, but they see the finished product on social media. But there's a lot of other shit that goes into that, you know, from editing and the
bit,
grind that goes along. So we're going to learn about the whole story, how you got into the game, favorite parts of the game, and everything and beyond.
Sweet.
All right. Well, Jeff, we start every episode the same way, and usually it's with my co-host. He asks the question. He's not here with us today, so I'm going to do it. Are you a transplant or a native to Colorado?
Native.
Shit,
Born and raised, baby.
We don't usually have a lot of y'all on here.
No, there are very few of us. I was born in
What
Rose
hospital?
Rose Hospital,
Okay.
4th floor. Rose Hospital. I don't think like the building that I was actually born in is still up. I think it's at New AMC now.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I was born and raised here. I grew up in Wash Park. I went to school in Boston for a little bit.
Oh, I was going to say you were a buff. I saw that you went to CU.
I did, yeah. So I finished
Googled it.
I finished at CU.
Okay.
But I moved to Boston for a couple years and went to Emerson College. Shout out all my Emerson dropout and transplants because nobody graduates from that fucking place.
Wait, time out. Why did you go east, and then what made you be like, oh, fuck it, it's miserable? Is it just difficult?
I mean, living on the East Coast was a blast, and I think far more my speed. What it came down to, it's like a super dumb story, but Emerson changed their programming between when I was enrolled and when I entered. And the kind of film school, I went to film school, the kind of education that I was looking for is not what they were offering at that point. And it turns out what nobody told me growing up here is that CU has like one of the best film schools in the country to learn avant-garde film theory, and kind of unconventional production, which is what I was really interested in. So I moved away to learn that CU was the place I should have gone in the first fucking place. And then I came back.
That's like a children's novel, and like how you're like,
Isn't
I
that-
had to go
isn't that
away to
sweet?
realize that home was
Yeah.
where
The other
shit was.
Yeah, the other
It's
big
all
thing
written.
that I think everybody who grew up here can kind of level with is Denver's like a small town. It still is. Like, it's still like this insular, and you gotta get the fuck out, everyone. Like, you gotta leave. I can fucking cuss, right?
Yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want. And we usually ask that, you know, did you leave? Why didn't you? You know, were you just happy being here? But most of the time, it's
Yeah.
either, you know, I snuck out for school and then
Yeah.
came back because I realized how great it was.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
Sometimes they're like, I just got to get away from all these fucking transplants, you know. And
Yeah, I
they
mean,
want
when
more of a tranquil spot.
Yeah, I mean, when I graduated high school and left, it wasn't like this. It was just starting to pop. It was just starting to kind of be a thing.
Let me ask you a quick question. When did you kind of fall in love with photography? If you were going away for film school, was this something you loved as a child? Were you a big Chevy Chase fan, a Bill Murray guy? Saturday Night Live, you're like, I love theater and film? Or how did it come about?
So my parents both come from news.
Okay.
My mom was a producer and my father was a reporter.
Oh, shit. So
Mike
it's quite
Fierberg, KCNC. And I grew up in a newsroom. Like,
Yeah.
I grew up after school getting like dropped at News 4 on Lincoln and like hanging out there. And so I really early got really comfortable with cameras and editing and the idea of visual storytelling, and kind of found my way back to it. I was into theater. Still am super into like theater. And I wanted to be
video and things of that nature.
yeah, all of it. Anybody who really knows me knows that my deep cuts are all like musical references because I did a lot of musical studying in college. But I found my way back to it because I grew up with it. Like I've never had any other real like
That was it.
like I wanted to do that as early as I can remember. I was one of those like freaky kids who was like, this is what I'm going to school for and this is what I'm going to do.
And you're very
And that's
good
it.
at it. But so
Thanks,
when you
man.
set your mind to something, it seems that it's, you know, it's very it comes fruitful. So that's very well done. It kind of reflects you have the passion for the project as well. Like food is, you know, like you bring some storyboards to life, and I say that because I steal a lot of your photos and put them on Instagram. Like when
You tag me, it's not a steal. It's a cap. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I need to start doing more because I feel like that my tagging you doesn't help pay the light bills when your pictures are out there. But you do. You bring other people's food and stories to life with your picture taking. So you're really, really good at it. And so I
appreciate
need to know
that.
more.
Yeah.
And we all want to know more. Let's learn a little bit about where did you navigate your way to the food? So obviously, were you a production assistant on a news team, or were you out there chasing twisters like Philip Seymour Hoffman? And you know, like, how did you kind of come? What happened after college?
So after college, actually during college I got jobs in corporate.
Okay.
I worked for Apple for like 5 years at the store level.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to be like, yeah, I had stock options and shit.
Me and Timmy C had like barbecues every Saturday.
Stevie
No,
J,
you know,
come
I
through.
worked for Apple like through college, and my first quote unquote real job, my first like job after that was in the corporate world. I worked for Remax.
For who?
Remax, the like real estate.
yeah,
So I worked for them, and I worked my way up kind of in their marketing department, media department, as like a producer. And I was producing all of their educational video and a lot of their video for like their big convention in Vegas. And I would go out to Vegas and film there. And, you know, I did all of this work for them, and that kind of really started to, I think I learned a ton there, but really what it did is it reignited the idea after college that it was what I wanted, right? Like I think we all kind of get spat out of college and are like, I don't know, I just need to like make rent and like figure it out. And Remax taught me that both I really wanted to do this and I really did
Don't
not
wanna
like corporate backgrounds and structures. It's not my thing. I have a tremendous problem with authority.
I know that feeling oh too well, my friend. Oh too well.
And so I left there and I started working in like the natural food space and in like creative direction. So I worked for a company called Capello's. They make grain-free pasta, pizza, and cookie dough. I believe it's now all almond flour based. Shout out Ben and Stacy. If you listen to this show, I bet you do.
I bet they do.
I bet they
We're
do.
Like the third coolest podcast that's being recorded in this
One
building
space right now. And I kind of worked my way up there in more of like the creative marketing side of things. And when I left there, I started my own gig and, you know, really had a cool opportunity to just take it and run with it. I have a couple of good friends from college that, you know, basically joined me as advisors and co-owners and help out on the bigger projects. And we just ran with it. I especially ran with it. This is what I want to do. I like getting up every day and working until I can't see straight anymore on telling stories and showing what other people are up to. Like I really enjoy putting and packaging things together that really show off the tremendous amount of work and craft that people are using all over the world. That's what I'm about. That's my jam if I could like distill it.
And I feel like that's one thing that kind of gravitates me towards like your page and this conversation is because I like to believe I am that as well, but I am that on marijuana. So like when you're like, I want to work night in to night, you know, like I want to bleed 16 hours of work and tell these stories. I want to be there with you.
But you want to be asleep.
Scorched.
Yeah.
I want to be eating the food that they're cooking for.
Yeah.
But we could do this. We could tag team this because
Sure.
what you have been able to do is you've turned your passion into like one of those things where it's not work. You're going to do something you genuinely enjoy.
I love it.
And because of it, it's taken you all over the world.
Yeah.
It's fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
So we're here to pick your brain. I want to know a little bit more about the coolest places the camera has taken you. Like National Geographic vibes or like the streets. We know Japan has been very
Japan's
prominent in your work of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
street art, as well
God,
as Italy. I mean,
Yeah.
you've done the Amalfi Coast and Positano and all that shit. Positano. I mean, you've gotten some cool ones.
Yeah, I mean, Japan is going to be the top of my
1A.
list. 1A forever. Thailand, Hong Kong.
When did you go? When was the last time you went to Japan?
December of 19.
Oh, well, obviously, yeah, 20 doesn't count for anybody.
Yeah.
So
I've had like 12 trips to Japan canceled since then.
you just keep like optimistic.
Dude,
banking on
oh
it?
yeah. So here's your travel tip. Tickets to Japan right now are like dirt cheap. And a lot of them have like 5 and 10 year expiration dates on how far you can move them. So you can get like a coach ticket to Japan. I don't know if it's true like today as we do this, but a couple weeks ago it was like $300. So you buy that and you just you just kind of keep pushing it out. And then you're going to have, you know, like when it's $900 or $1,200, you're getting a discount just with a little bit of due diligence. So yeah, I'm just pushing that. In my wallet, I have like an Air Canada credit card with all the like miles on it because they give you that.
How many miles do you have? Wait, it says your mileage on your credit card?
No, but like when you buy it,
like
you
you
redeem
collect
it for the miles.
Yeah.
And eventually they just sent me a card because it was getting cool.
They're like, okay, we see what you're doing here. Just take this. And make
We
this like